right, we're going to start recording on the mixer in 5, 4, 3.
Clock. Hey, and welcome to the Drive Your Line podcast. This is where we talk about everything karting, all aspects, chassis, engines, manufacturers, rules, races, series, and so much more. Be sure to come back and listen. Hey, good evening. Thank you for joining us once again for another exciting evening of the Drive Your Line podcast. We're starting a little bit early, just because we can. So, any of those that tune in at 5:30, you're not missing anything. I promise you. But I want to go over a couple of little things that we have going on. We have the Talladega Grand Prix coming up next weekend. There is practice on Friday, the 6th of September. Racing is Saturday the 8th or Saturday the 7th and Sunday the 8th. Gates open at 7 a.m. on Friday. Practice starts at 9 a.m. You will register for practice through the track at motorsportsreg.com. Look for Talladega Grand Prix Raceway and practice. It'll say karting practice, Talladega Grand Prix. Go ahead and register there for that. Pre-registration for the race is at driveyourline.com. At the top of the menu, it will have pre-registration Talladega Grand Prix. You can get your pit passes there, your entry, and your pit space if you require power. Also, if you are a racer, you do not need a pit pass. It is part of your entry fee. This is an AKRA sanctioned event. However, you do not have to be part of WK or AKRA as a member to participate in the event. Membership is not required to compete. So this is an AKRA regional, and they were kind enough to give us a little bit of leeway on this one. But next year, if we are well received this year, we'll talk about making this a national, and we'll go ahead and put a little more emphasis on what we can provide as far as prizes for next year as well. Excuse me. With that being said, we're also working on a track here in Jackson, Mississippi. This is the track we talked about last show with Lake Speed. And this track is just under a half-mile road course. And it's located at Buddy Butts Park, just outside of Clinton, in the city limits of Jackson. It's owned by the City Parks and Recreation Department, who has really been very instrumental in helping us do the revitalization at this facility. 5 years ago, the Mississippi Karters Association applied for a grant. They were awarded that grant. However, to make the necessary repairs and in upgrades that their infrastructure they would need to continue racing, it was going to require an obscene amount of money. And we went ahead and expanded that grant and got $300,000 awarded to us. The city is now putting in all of the 6-foot fence with, I believe there's a barbed wire at the top now. I haven't seen it now that it's all been up, but there's well over 6 figures in fencing out there. And you don't realize how expensive putting a track together is until you start doing it. And I'm here to tell you that $300,000 didn't go very far. So our next step is to start getting quotes for the rest of the asphalt. We have a few. And once we get those, then we'll go ahead and get a date that asphalt will be completed, a cure time, and then we'll be on the track. My personal goal is to hopefully have racing back at Buddy Butts Park on Spring Ridge Raceway by the end of 2024. I'm shooting for October. I'm crossing my fingers. I'm holding my breath. I may suffocate, but I'm going to try like heck. So with that being said, stay tuned on all of our social media. And I post updates as quickly as I get them. If I'm not posting something, my son is. Excuse me. And we will keep that updated so racers can start getting ready. I wouldn't wait too much longer. Start getting ready now. We do have a really unique show for you. We have 2 guests this evening. We have Bret Spaude, and I know you all know him from CKNA South. Bret is a wonderful race promoter and organizer. He's also an incredible and well-accomplished racer. I don't know how many of you actually know that. The Spaude family, there's 3 generations that have been involved in karting, and we're going to ask him to make sure it's only 3 because it might be more. I know his kids will be coming up soon, but if you don't know the legacy that is the Spaude family, you're going to learn a lot about it here tonight. After Bret, we're going to have Camryn Reed, who I helped get to Valencia, Spain last year for the Tillotson T4 Nations Cup. This is a world championship, more or less, for Tillotson T4 packaged equipment. So what the Tillotson T4 is a chassis, spec motor, sealed, and all the components on that chassis have to be as they were sold. So it is a true spec program. It is internationally renowned, and the competition is stiff. Last year, Camryn showed up, first time in international competition out of the country. She put that thing on the pole. She showed him that the girls over here in the States are no joke. So she definitely held her own through her heats, her super heat. And when it came down to the final, she had suffered an unfortunate engine failure. So I can recant that with Camryn, but she says this year it's for all the marbles. She's not playing. So if we want to go ahead and get started, are we about 5:30? All right. So we're going to go ahead and bring Bret on, and we're going to talk to him about what he's got going on and what his past look like. Hey, buddy.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Not too bad.
Good. Hey, thank you for joining us. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. This is a cool experience.
Yeah, it's an experience, all right. I don't know what parking
true.
lot you're in.
Cell
So, Bret,
phone store.
oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So, Bret, we all know you from CKNA South, right?
Yep.
What propelled you to get into that? What made you say, "Hey, I want to get into a 4-cycle series"?
Well, the nice part about what happened is we kind of fell into it at the right time. We knew Greg and Steve through the Vega deal, and there was that void in Florida, really the South, but a lot of it's in Florida. That there was just a series that needed a good direction with a good foundation. Cup Karts was doing extremely well at the time. Little did we know that it would be where it was today, and it just was a great fit. Steve and Greg and myself, we hit it off. Things happened very quickly, and it just grew rapidly. The first year we were only a 1-day show, a Friday practice, Saturday race. We wanted to make sure it worked in the area, and that was the year Ocala closed down, so there was a lot of up in the air. We went to Bushnell twice. We had 3 races, 1-day shows, like I said, and it went really well. So we just thought, okay, this is a good thing. Let's keep going, and then we just kept going and going and going, making it into the full weekend events, and great kart counts now, and it just happened to be the right time, the right place, and it just worked.
So, how many years have you been involved with CKNA?
We were talking about kind of along this line the other day because I don't remember the answer. But in our office, we talk about how things are a time warp, and I'm pretty sure what we were just doing last week was really about 4 years ago. But I think it was 2021. Yeah, 2021 would have been our first year.
So this is your 3rd full season.
Yeah, going into 4. Yeah.
When does your season start in 2025?
It'll be 1st of January in that time frame. We try to get past Daytona, WK Daytona, Christmas, holidays. The grands with Cup Karts usually October first week. So we try to give everyone that little bit of that breather because it happens quick. We run normally December, January through May, June, and then the South Series is over, and then everyone's running back up north or Canada or the other series, 2-cycle series that are out there. So we try to wrap things up in a relatively quick period, but that means that it's a quick turnaround on the other side. But as we all know, as racers are, if there's a race, they're going to go.
Well, you certainly hope that they go. That's for darn sure. Right. So let me get into some personal stuff here. You're a 3rd generation go-karter, correct?
Yep.
So Bill was the first, and then Todd, your dad, and then you.
Yep.
Who has the most championships?
Oh, my dad. by far, I would imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, Todd's definitely a wheel man. your grandfather was one of the first people I ever met in karting when I grew up in South Florida. So we started there. We started at Pete Michelle's track. South Florida
Yep.
Cartway was another one. But I remember Bill in his IKF red, white, and blue bucket hat. And every time I'd see him, he had that hat on. Every time. So 30 years later, I see Bill in Ohio. He's still got that hat on. Never forget that. That and the bus. Can't forget the
Yep.
bus.
There's been a few new hats been introduced, but the same concept is there. Yeah.
So your grandfather is in karting. What time frame do you think he started?
As far as I can tell from stories that it's been a while. I'd say it would be the early 60s, 62, 63, somewhere in there. And all that started because he was going to the fun track with him and his 3 or 4 buddies. They wrecked everything this guy had, and the guy said never come back. So they went out and bought go-karts and started playing in the parking lot. And then a few of them got more serious and went on to actually race some events that they found. Bob Thompson was a big part of it, found events. And so that's it. All started at the go-kart track and getting kicked out in the 60s.
Well, I don't know any go-karters that have ever been kicked out of a rental track.
Right.
I think we're the reason why the track in Daytona across the street's no longer in business.
Right.
So if I understand, your grandfather is much like yourself. You guys would drive anything. Just put it under you. As long as they had 4 tires and a steering wheel, you could drive it. Now, Todd, he's a little more of a perfectionist, is he not?
1000% correct. Yes.
Who is the most competitive of you 3?
Most competitive? We all want to win. It's pretty tight between Dad and I on who wanted to win more. We both won a lot of races, and we both got there very different ways, and both ways worked, and each were frustrating to the other. But that's the beauty of how this works. Sometimes you said Dad was a perfectionist. He'd come into the pits if the brakes weren't exactly right, he'd come in and work on them or tweak them. And and then there's times where you hear the stories where they're running Daytona and they're running 9 classes and one kart didn't work as well as they thought it would, so they were putting everything on. And one of my favorite stories is the belt was too short, so they didn't have enough time to change the belt for the next race that was like coming up. So they just kept dropping teeth on the rear gear until they got to a point where the belt fit. Like, that's what it was. It wasn't anything special. And they went out and won by like 36, 38 seconds or something like that, but it was just put whatever on it to make it fit. We just got to get to the grid. And that is a lot like it would sound like I was doing it. But Dad was very meticulous. He could tell you exactly what RPM he was entering, exiting the center of the corner. He knew when the pipe, kicked in. He knew when the clutch was engaged. And I'm out there like looking at signs and trying to figure out some markers to figure out how fast I might be 1 or 2 spots. He's a human computer. And he would ask me what it was, and I'd be like, I don't know, but it was fast, it worked, but I don't know I don't know the answer to your question. But so we just got there different ways.
That was before data loggers. That was before you could have a dash and tell you everything.
That was getting, yeah. You had the belts, and you put the belt around it, had the gauge on the belts, and
fly with red eye. You strap them on, they be on your stomach. Yeah. That's great if you're a guy. If you're a chick, that doesn't really work too well. It's hard to see the gauges. Hey, so we're going to go to the first picture here. Who's that guy?
That would be me. Probably, again, losing track of time. That would probably have to be 2010, maybe 11.
So that was Subaru, Phoenix Performance, correct?
Yep, based out of Phoenixville, Pennsylvania.
And from what I understand, you had kind of an interesting career because you bounced around a little bit in Grand Am, IMSA.
Yep.
Several pole positions, sponsored by Subaru. How did you get from karting to that?
It all funneled actually through Joe and Phoenix Performance before we even knew anything about the Subaru side of things. We played with some SCCA racing. Did some endurance racing with a group out of Washington, D.C., ran some BMWs for the endurance races, had a blast, had a great time, learned a lot, got more seat time for the dollar doing that than we did probably anything else ever. We would drive, 6, 7, 8, 9 hours of a 24-hour race, and do well and have fun doing it. We decided maybe we should try something a little bit more structured and not endurance style. And we went off and got some Spec Miata stuff, did that for a little bit, moved on to T3, which was Touring 3 back then, and then won the runoffs. And that really, what really happened is when we won that race, we had bought one of Joe's Cobalts to run the class in, and we did that in 2006, I think. Yeah, 2006. And when Subaru had an opening 3 years later, they called us. Joe remembered that experience from, years before, when we took a car that he built and went out and won a race that he was there for. So, just one of those things that just happened the right way a few years prior. And when Subaru had an opening, they called us. We said, absolutely. We'd been doing some Grand Am stuff. We'd ran, when we started, it was the Coney Challenge. So that was ST. We started in some Civics with a group out of New Hampshire. That was a great time. Ran well, had a chance for Rookie of the Year, missed that by just a little bit. And then the Subaru opportunity came up, and the new STI was coming out, which was going to put it into the GS category, which was the top class. And then it switched over to Continental Tire. I can't remember the name of it now, but it switched from Coney to Continental. And that was the year that everything came together. The new Mustangs came out, the new Challengers were in, the Porsches had figured out a new car. So we went from having a pretty easy run. We were a 4-cylinder turbo that was running against these big, powerful V8s, and we were like a hand grenade with the pin pulled, and we had let go of 3 fingers. Like, the thing was just, it was rough for a while until we got it figured out. And then probably about year 2.5 or so, we kind of hit our stride and started figuring out the car, making it reliable. And the hard part with that is you're dealing with a BOP with adjustments and what you can do, what you can't do. We were the only all-wheel drive car at the time, so everyone was thinking when it rained it was going to be over, and it really wasn't. We just, that wasn't how it worked. But so you learn a lot of the politics of how to how to try to get your product to do better. It's kind of like how the engine manufacturers do in today's karting side of things, but you try to get your product, your car to get a little bit more. And we lobbied and got what we needed to, and then, like you said, we got a couple poles. Got a third at Homestead one time, and then sat on the pole there, got third there at Homestead, and then later that season went on to New Jersey, which is this. And New Jersey was our home track. That was about 2 hours from the shop. We had tested. We knew New Jersey. New Jersey was a great place for us. Cherry Hill is where Subaru's actually based out of, New Jersey. So it all came together. We had done so well at New Jersey, and just every year something would happen. One year we had a rubber axle boot break and fling the grease everywhere, and it caught the thing on fire, and it was a big mess. And then this year we finally just got it to where it worked out, won the race, and qualified on pole, set the track record, qualified, went on to lead some laps, and then towards the end Andrew brought it home and got our first win.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So the picture that we just showed, you can put that one back up. Tell me what this picture is about, Bret.
That probably 2003, maybe 2004 time frame. That's a Triple Crown trophy from WKA. So when you win 3 championships in a season or more, they call it a Triple Crown. And we got one. Could have gotten 4 if I want to be technical, but I didn't want to go to Putnam Park for personal reasons. I thought it was boring. So I didn't go to Putnam Park for one of the races, and I lost a championship in one of the sprint classes, I think it was. Could have had a 4th championship, but he got 3. So Triple Crown is what you got there, that trophy.
So for those who don't know, on the left is Todd Spaude. That's Bret there in the middle, and that is his grandfather Bill on the right. Now, also, many people don't know that Todd Spaude is TS Racing in Florida. A lot of our competitors here, they say, "Oh, I'm going to buy something at TS. I'm going to buy something at TS." I'm like, "Okay." And I said, "Well, if you call Bret and find out if they'll throw it in the trailer and bring it up," and they just look at me like I'm crazy. And it's like, it's the same family. Now, your grandfather,
Same people, different place, but yeah.
that's right. That's right. And Bill at one time was the mayor of Bushnell, correct?
Yep.
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 And now you guys have Bushnell Motorsports Park. Tell me about that.
Yep. So 2012 or so, 2013, went to Atlanta, to AMP when it was nothing. When they hadn't even finished, we went and we were kind of like their pro shop for them, kind of helped them get started. Did a lot of the racing schools, helped them with the rental car program way back when. And just kind of looking at it, I'm like, man, this is really interesting. You kind of look at tracks, and again, this is like 2008 or after 2008, 2009, and I'm looking at this place, and I'm like, man, they got like a 2-hour wait, to ride a go kart for $25, and I'm over here trying to sell these $9,000-$10,000 go karts, and we were doing good, but it's like, man, it's a lot easier to sell a $25 ride versus a $9,000 ride. So whenever that closed up and we were like, okay, what are we gonna do next? It was like, well, let's do a track. We can do this. We can make this happen. And had some property down in Florida, and we had kind of picked out a couple different spots for it, and Bushnell just kind of worked. We already had the land. It was a little bit further away from other places, but it worked. And we took it, and it had cows on it when we started. And just like everything in Florida, it's got cows on it. And I took corners of tracks that I liked, and I'm like, I want to do this here and that there. And back in the 70s, Grandpa had some property down in St. Pete that he wanted to build a track on, and it never happened. And part of it was a bridge and an underpass. And we were talking like, okay, we're kind of out a little bit from everything. We're an hour from everything, so we probably should have something a little bit, unique that goes with what we're doing. So let's put the bridge and underpass back in it. So we redesigned, hashed it out, got on Google, pulled measurements from trees and monuments that we could find there, went out to the property, pulled the measurements with the tape measures, staked it all out, took the mower out, mowed it a whole bunch, kind of drove it around for a week or two. And Becca my wife took her running app and just hit the GPS tracker on it. We took the points on it, sent it to the engineer, and he sent us back blueprints, and we built a track. So it sounds easy, but it's not, and that's just a small part of it. But so we've got the track. We do rental carts is the main business, and then we do a lot of motorcycle practice and track time as well, races for them, and then the competition kart side of it where people practice. We do a race series. We do everything.
That's awesome. So at the facility that you're at Bushnell, do you guys offer any kart shop type services, or do you sell carts or anything of that nature?
Yep. So we sell Margay products, VLR products we can get as well, and do that through TS Racing. On site, we've got the kart shop there. It's small. It has the basic necessities. We can get you back on track once you have an accident or a problem, something like that. Engine work, we just send back over to TS. Again, we're 6-minute drive from my dad's place. So I mean, we can, if we don't have it, it's easy to get. We do the service and work on smaller, lighter jobs. Like I said, engine jobs and stuff like that, we'll send back over to Dave and let him do. They've already got everything set up, no reason to duplicate. But for the most part, we do just about anything you need. Not very much that we'll say no to.
So we got a few minutes left. Is there anything about CKNA that you would like to share with competitors while you have the chance?
I think the Grands this year is going to be a great event. Last year was was huge. I think we're all kind of waiting to see what turnout looks like this year, with the grands coming, the new format, which we don't have a ton of details on yet. I know that's coming. Greg's working on trying to figure out some of those little details to be able to share with you guys soon. But the grands will be good. I'm excited for next year. This year we had an explosion in growth. We had about an average of about 165 on our 4 races. So I mean, we had a great showing. NOLA, AMP, first time going there. Daytona. I mean, it's always great to get to Daytona. I've always me and Randy Folks, you know Randy pretty well.
Oh yeah.
We always have the conversation that it doesn't matter if you're running a foot race, a 5K, a wheelbarrow race, Daytona 500, a kart race, doesn't matter. It still counts as a win, but we do count Rolexes as 2. So I'm still trying to jump ahead of them a few by getting a couple Rolexes, but that's going to be a little bit more work. But so it's always fun to be in Daytona. The atmosphere is great. It's nice to be inside the track. I'm excited. I know they've done a lot of work inside. So,
Yeah, they removed the bus
that's,
stop. You don't have the grass there anymore. It's
yep,
basically
they've
if you
done
blow
that.
it, you get a smooth sail.
Yep. So I'm hoping that we can get everything finalized to go back. Schedule's coming together for the South group. Still got a couple contracts out. Last year was kind of a little bit of we got a couple of things thrown at us, and I kind of changed things up, which I absolutely hate doing. I like putting a schedule out that's what the schedule is going to be, and we race to that schedule. One of those that kind of started the domino effect of moving 2 of them turned out to be that just things fell apart, and it just things happen. So we did what we could. It had great turnouts. I'm super excited for next year. I've got a couple little things that we're working on. It's incredibly hard to find staff to do a traveling series. So one of the spots we're trying to fill a couple of those spots that are important to the series, that are help the operations of being consistent, applying rules, across the board. So we're trying to find a couple of those little spots. Hopefully we've got a couple leads out to make those perfect and right, so that whenever the racer comes and he leaves, he knows that he got a fair race that was across the board even. So we try our best. We do what we can, and we're all human. Sometimes you get a little bit of a bump. Sometimes it's perfect. It just kind of goes. But we're trying to iron out those details to make it as smooth as possible for hopefully even more growth for the South, so that it can keep going and be the premier series here in the Southeast, and hopefully be a great feeder for the national program.
Well, we've certainly enjoyed watching CKNA grow, especially the South region. Know it's the newest. Um, yeah, and we don't have many tracks here. That's part of our issue. And I really am impressed by the fact that you guys keep reinventing what you could do with the tracks that are here. Bret, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you joining us. And please, let's do this again. We have a lot more to talk about, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you. Have a great night.
Thanks, Jim.
So while we're live, I'm sitting here with my laptop, Andrew Root, watching the show while Silas is putting some laps on at Finish Line Performance Karting. That is the Drive Your Line Kart Sport home track in Biloxi, Mississippi. And they are allowed on Wednesday nights. Anybody with a go-kart, anybody who races, can go there and practice as long as you want, and as long as the track is available. If they happen to get super busy, then we get kicked off. But usually on Wednesdays, we're pretty good to go. Bret has a long in very impressive history in racing, and he did the Karts to Cars program, and he made it work. And he's a wheelman. He's a Spaude, and if you ever see him in an entry list, you know that you're going to be working for that first place. You're going to work hard. They're going to make you work hard. So I'm thankful that he has joined us, and hopefully we'll see the 4th generation of Spaudes come down the pike. But here soon, I don't know if y'all can see this. See that? That's our next guest. That is a card I got in the mail after last year's event in Spain. I was so thankful to get it. And it's a prized possession. I keep it close by. And, there's Camryn's message on the back thanking me for her being able to go. And Camryn Reed joins us. Camryn is from Louisiana. I've had the luxury of seeing her as a competitor. Um, Phenomenal young lady, very passionate about what she does. Her and her dad Josh are a really funny duo. They bought a new truck, and I kind of miss the the roadside posts when things would go bad, because Cameron's point of view was always kind of from a comedic side, while Josh was out busting his butt, changing a tire or fixing a vacuum line or something that went bad. But now Cameron is a international competitor. She's still based out of Louisiana. She competes in CKNA. She competes in TSRS, SCUSA, you name it, she'll go. She's currently a CRG dealer, and she's doing great things. So, Camryn, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much. Excited to be here.
I'm excited to see the Camryn Reed Motorsports back there.
Yeah, yeah. Had to make it all fancy for you.
Thanks. Hey, we appreciate it. So, Cam, last time we really had a good sit down talk. You were coming back from Spain last year. And tell us about your journey to earning your ticket last year. You got that through Karting the Coast. And tell me about your experience and how you earned it and what led up to the days getting there, and how was your experience overseas?
Yeah, so the Tillerton program was something that we hadn't really heard of. It is definitely something that was new to the South. And then Christy brought on the class with her Karting the Coast series. And so we picked up a motor, threw it on one of our spare chassis, and we just went out, had a bunch of fun, and just had a great time with the product. And we were super, happy with the product. We had a lot of fun. And through Christy's help, we were able to get a ticket and go to Spain last year. What an experience that was. Me and my dad were just a bunch of rednecks from Louisiana. We don't speak a lick of Spanish, and it was comedic trying to make our way through the country. Struggled to order food, that kind of stuff, but it was just a blast. We didn't really know what to expect going into the race. Obviously, that was our first time leaving the country, and um, right off the bat, we had so much pace, and Colin Warren and Noah Rosser were there, two amazing drivers from the US. And we all kind of worked together, put it on pole, won a heat race, and then got second in a heat race. Just had amazing pace right off the bat, which was super rewarding. That was something that, was just so fulfilling, an experience, a feeling that I can't even explain. Um, just yeah, it was just so amazing. And then in the final, we just lost a little bit of power in the motor, and brought home a P7. But we are super excited to go back, and hopefully we'll be able to order food a little bit better. But the most important thing is hopefully we come home with the world championship.
Well, I know that it was an impressive view to see you on the podium with your pole position award. Do you have that trophy still, or do they keep that? 'Cause
Oh
it
no,
was pretty cool.
I have it right by my bed.
That was a very cool trophy. So tell me about the T4 package. For anybody who doesn't know, Tillotson, the same people who make carburetors, they have a T4, and the T4 is a spec chassis with a Tillotson made 225cc four stroke. This is a sealed package, much like you see in your Briggs and Stratton. It's got a lot more grunt, a lot more top end, and it's a lot of fun. It really is. Camryn, what would you compare that to? Because I know that the power is a little bit different than the 206. What would you compare the 225 to?
It's kind of hard to compare it to anything. Honestly, it's quicker than the 206. It's a little bit slower than a KA. It doesn't have like the bottom end that a KA has. It has more of a bottom end of a 206. Um, but it definitely has way more top end. So it kind of falls in the middle there, between the two. But it's all around a super fun package. It's something unique, something different. But I've really enjoyed it. Um, we raced in Florida this year, and that's how we got our ticket this year, and just had a great time. They had a really good turnout, and it just makes the racing super cool. It's kind of a mix, like I said, of the 206 and the K package. So it takes a little bit of chess match off the bottom end, and making those passes stick, but then you get some pretty fun passes on the top end off the straightaways. And So yeah, it's just a super cool all around package. And then since it's spec, I think it just evens the playing field. That's something that we've really enjoyed is, going to Spain, it just completely evens the playing field. Everybody's on the same stuff, same motor, same chassis. You can't really change much. So it's all up to tuning, progression, and driver. And I think that's why you saw us excel so much.
So we'll come back to the T4 here in just a minute. The picture that's up on the screen, tell us about that.
Man, I've just getting my ass handed to me and I'm sorry. I'm just getting my butt handed to me and shifter this year, but it has just been
We
an
could test.
absolute blast. It's been such a fun racing. That's Josie Chambers, one of my good buddies, just kind of almost my little brother right there in the picture. He's been doing awesome, but yeah, shifter's been fun. We've just been trying to learn something new. We tried to stay in the KA and X30 world for so long, and we just started to feel that motor parity wasn't equal, and that you just had to dump so much money into it to be quick. So we decided, let's try something that when I get beat, I know it's because I got outdriven, and that's kind of where we've been. So for the past year and a half, we've been messing around in the shifter stuff, and we've had some good results in the TSR stuff, but we're hungry for more. And I know that I need to, get a little bit stronger to hold on to the beast.
So, what prompted you to become a CRG dealer? It's a great product, absolutely an iconic product line and a brand. But what made you consider and get into a dealership with CRG?
Yeah, so for the past many years, we've been on all OTK products. Iron Rock and Charlie Swain, they're all OTK products, and we still run with them occasion to occasion. Charlie's the best guy in the freaking paddock. He's awesome. But after we did CKNA at NOLA, um, we found out that one of our chassis was cracked. So we had to, go looking around for another chassis. And that kind of brought up discussions about what it would look like if we left OTK and kind of went somewhere different. Um, and so conversations sparked up with Ewan, with CRG Nordam in Houston. And he really wanted to boost the FS4 product, purpose made 206 product, and really show that for a really good price, you can get into a chassis and go straight to the front. We're seeing a lot of guys take two-stroke products, bring it over to four-stroke, and have to pay an absurd amount of money to convert it. So we wanted to prove that, a purpose-made chassis is competitive and can be put up front. And so those conversations sparked up with Ewan. He's an awesome guy, has been so helpful. And we decided to, change things up, go over to CRG, and we have a dealer account with him. So we wanted to help him kind of boost the CRG product east of the Mississippi River and kind of go into a market that he didn't feel his product was in enough. And, the East Coast has a really strong 206 program. And so we wanted to kind of bring that chassis east and kind of prove its capability. And I feel like we've done that so far.
So you just podiumed last weekend, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
As 206.
Yep.
And I know TSRS always packs a very stout house of competition. How do you think you stacked up? Do you think you got outdriven, outperformed? If I know you were scratching every lap there was.
Yeah, I think we've had crazy pace at every single TSRS event this year. I've felt really happy with my pace and the product. In all the other events, other people have decided our fate, which is a conversation for another time. But this past weekend, unfortunately, we didn't get to do the practice day on Friday. Dad had to work in Lake Charles, and he pays the bills, so he had to work. That's how the cards fell.
Yep.
So we rolled out of the trailer Saturday morning and just hit the freaking track hot. We were flying, put a P3 in quali, just had amazing pace. Throughout the heat races, I just played it kind of safe since all the other races didn't really, fall too well. I just wanted to keep it on track, keep a good results, and then attack in the final. And so started P3 for the final, got out the gates hot. I was holding on to P1 and P2, got up to the lead, led a fair amount of laps. And then once they got back around me, they were teammates and they just smooth sailed to the finish. Just nose to tail. They're super quick guys. They've been around for a long time. I've raced with them a lot. And yeah, they just nose to tailed it to the final. It was a 2v1. I mean,
Yeah, those drafting partners sure come in handy, don't they?
yeah, I mean, Kelvin, he was there to help Bryce in the championship points. He just pushed him across the line. Bryce never had to block, never had to, do anything. So it made it a little bit hard. Um, but overall, I was super happy with my pace, and we went there mainly getting ready for Spain next week. So overall, happy with the result. We went purple in Heat 3. I was just super quick. So it's just how the cards fell, but they're great guys. They were super quick, and honestly, kudos to them. They played their cards right and had a teammate there to help them. So I guess I just got to find a teammate.
And 206 is so much about strategy.
Right.
So much about strategy. So tell me a little bit about your car experience. You've obviously made that jump from karting into bigger things. I know you're making another shift currently. What does the future look like on bigger wheels?
Yeah, so right out of karting, we tried to follow, the wave that everybody was going, and we got into the Spec Miata. Only did a handful of races in it. And then Charlie Swain, he has passed in Formula Car racing, so um, we went with him. Formula Car racing, got an F1600, and we had really, really good success. Our first year, we won the national championship, became the first female to do so, the youngest driver to do so. Um, and then our second year, my teammate Cooper Shipman joined. He got a car, and we just had a blast together. We traveled all over, put up another good set of results. We came second in the championship, but that we had a lot of fun. But in the beginning of this year, we had to kind of figure out where we wanted to go. Formula car seats are very, very limited, and so we wanted to pivot. And so we were reached out by an MX5 Cup team. They reached out to us and wanted to get a test day in and see how we would do in the seat. And so we did that a couple months ago. We had a test day in an MX5 Cup car and just had a blast. It was so much fun. That's definitely something that I see myself in, something that I really want to do. So we've been working hard for the past couple months to get invited to the shootout this year and hopefully set ourselves up for success, because I'm confident. I feel like if I can get invited to the shootout, that I have a good chance. I'll do whatever it takes to win it. And then hopefully that would allow us to race MX5 Cup 2025. And that series is just incredibly competitive. It's a spec series, which is where I feel like I thrive. Everybody's on an equal product. I feel like it really allows the driver and the tuner to shine. And then you have amazing drivers like Connor, Jeremy Fletcher, these guys coming out of it. Connor's just raising the bar way too high. Nobody can keep up. But the rest of us, it's amazing drivers in MX5 Cup, and I feel like it would push me to be a better driver. So that's kind of our plans for 2025 is, continue to work hard and always be ready for any opportunity.
So you did have the opportunity. You were invited by, was it an MX5 team to go to Daytona?
Correct. Yeah, we were invited by Hendricks Motorsports, Kimmy Hendricks and Eric Madsen to go test in Daytona a couple months ago.
And was that your first experience on the big track?
Yeah, that was my first time going up on the banking. Just a crazy feeling. At first, I thought I was about 90 degrees sideways, but you get kind of used to it. But yeah, that was my first time on the big track.
You think you'd ever lay down in an enduro and do it?
There's a chance for everything.
I mean, we happen to know people with a few just laying around. I'm throwing that out there.
Yeah, I mean, it just always happens that race falls on WKA Daytona, which is just such a blast race that I've had the opportunity to race in and win, and but maybe this year.
Yeah, maybe the future has not yet happened, so that's a good thing. So, Camryn, you're getting ready to leave. This next weekend, right? This next week.
Yep, we leave Tuesday, and we head off back to Spain.
Who all's going with you this year?
Just me and my dad. Last year, my Uncle Alan was able to come with us, and he was just a blast. But he's got to deal with the grandkid this time. So it's just me and Pops going this time. But We might get lost a time or two, but Google Maps is great. We'll make it through.
So when you get there, you arrive in Valencia. What is your what's your detail look like? What's your agenda when you arrive?
So right when we arrive, we're getting there a day early, so we'll probably just explore the city a little bit, kind of walk around, and then Thursday we'll go to the track, and that's where you do all the registration, um, and you got to get. I have to get a bunch of weights. You get your tools, and you get
I'm sure your
your
dad's thrilled.
yeah. It's actually a crazy sight. Like you walk up and the whole entire track is just lined with Tillotson chassis, hundreds and hundreds of chassis in a line. You go find your number. The chassis is already built for you to your size or as close as they can get it. You go grab your chassis with your motor on it, bring it back to your tent. Or you got to find like each country is like sectioned off. So you go find your country and they have like tables set up with your name and all your stuff. It's super cool. You bring all your stuff over there and just start putting it together. We make a little bit of modifications. Obviously there aren't many things that you can change, but we made a few last year that ultimately helped me. But yeah, you just put your stuff together, and yeah, you got to rent your weights, and you have to rent like everything, all your tools. If you need any parts, you have to you have to buy them from the IPK tent. Everything is spec. You're not really allowed to change much. Everybody's on the exact same product, exact same axle. You have a gear and then plus or minus one tooth. Um, so it just evens the playing field completely, but it's a really cool sight to see when you walk in and you just see hundreds and hundreds of go-karts lined up, all looking the exact same.
Wow. So when you get your ticket, you earned your ticket through wins. Um, what does that ticket entail for you? What all's included in that package?
So I have a full ticket, which covers my entry fee, my go kart. It covers everything for me except for travel and lodging and food, obviously. But like entry fee, go kart rental, motor rental, tires, all of the above, everything you can
Josh's
name that you need for an event.
Josh's one is your key wrench, right?
Yeah, my dad's gonna wrench for me always.
Of course, of course. So, what would you say about your experience with T4?
It was a great event. Something that I feel like we lack a little bit in the US. Just complete parity. Everybody was on the exact same product. I felt like that allowed me to excel, but it also allowed for other people to excel. It all comes down to tuning and driver. It kind of takes a little bit of the money hungry side away from things, which I feel like karting has kind of gotten to a little bit. Like if you have crazy money, you can kind of buy your way to the front, which kind of sucks. Um, but yeah, it was a super cool event. I got to meet people from all over the world. Um, so yeah, I really have nothing bad to say about the event. Honestly, um, it had a share fuel station, which I really liked, since that's something we don't really see in the U.S. But yeah, the spec racing, the parity side of things is something that I think we need in the US to allow drivers to excel and kind of take the money side away from things.
So, what would you say to somebody who's considering a package now, looking at a four-stroke? What would you say to them as you would present them a T4 package? Is it something you highly recommend?
100%. There's no other series, there's no other manufacturer that's offering um, tickets to an international world championship. I've raced in 206 for years, and as much as you win in 206, they're not offering anything crazy for you to go overseas and try something different and improve your talents. Tillotson is the only one doing so, and it's just a super cool, super all around great package. I hope to see it continue to grow here in the US and have more events that host the package. Um, but the T4 series in Florida is great. That's where I got my ticket. And we had a great turnout, 20, 30 drivers in the senior class. And the guys are no slouch 100%. Like it's super hard. But it's just like any racing. If you earn your ticket, it's just so rewarding. And then getting to represent your country is even more rewarding. So yeah, 100% recommend the package. Like I said, there's nobody else that's doing it like them.
So when I was approached with this package, I was approached by Carol Ford in Tennessee, and he introduced us to Tillotson. And being 2-cycle people, we were pretty darn impressed. The entire package was nice. The kart's well built. It's very well put together. It's very well appointed, nice accessories. The power plant, I haven't put anybody in it that came off and said, "Oh, that was terrible." Everybody comes out of it and says, "That's impressive." Um, I wish that the T4 package was a little more popular in the United States. Well, Lord knows we're doing our part to try to reintroduce it again to this portion of the country. But I know that there's 8 or 9 of them here regionally. I would love to see some of those T4 drivers out of Florida come up to the Talladega race next weekend. Obviously, the ones that aren't going to Valencia, Spain, I'd love to see them come join us and do some road racing. I know there was a pretty large contingency of them at Daytona last year. So hopefully those guys will come and join us and have a good time. We have some really cool swag from Tillotson. Their socks are amazing. So if you get their socks, Camryn, hold on to them because they are really super cool. Socks of all things, who knew? But they sent us umbrellas, shirts, socks, hats, all kinds of cool swag. I can honestly say they're the only manufacturer that stepped up and said, "Hey, we want to send you a bunch of swag. What address do you want to go to?" So kudos to Tillotson and making a big deal about being part of racing in the United States and globally and embracing karting in a new way that we've not had before. We want to go ahead and thank you for being here, Camryn. We wish you all the luck in the world. Remember, this has got to be a win picture next time, right?
100%.
How's Josh feel about this trip?
He is super excited. Obviously, we were a little bit heartbroken last year. Obviously, 7th at the World Championship is still a great result, but it was at our fingertips. And so he felt like it was a little bit of his fault, which, I can never blame him. He's doing everything for me. So we're super excited to go back. He's super excited to go back. And we feel really, really confident about our pace. And I feel like I've grown as a driver in the past year. He's super excited and super thankful for the opportunity as always. And his birthday is actually Monday, September 2nd. So
Oh, wow.
hopefully, his birthday present for him could be a world championship. So that's riding on my shoulders, but I feel confident for him.
No pressure. No pressure, Cam. I know you can handle it. I know you can handle it. Guys, if you want to know anything about the T4 program, you can reach out to us at Drive Your Line. You can also reach out to Jake Motos in Florida. The track that was recently purchased is now the T4 Motorsports Complex or Motorplex. They run a great program down there, and the brand, the series, the class is growing nationwide, and we hope to be part of that and growing it here in Central Mississippi and in the Mid-South. Camryn, is there anything else you'd like to share before you go?
Just stay tuned, guys. Next week's going to be a fun one, and we're going to bring home the world championship.
You promise to come sit with us again if you win it?
100%.
I want a whole hour, okay?
No problem.
Hey, you tell Josh and your mom and everybody we said hello and good luck, and we'll be rooting for you. Last year, we were at the track watching it in Wargo's trailer on the TV, yelling and screaming and jumping up and down. The camper was rocking and rolling. There was like 6 of us in there. It was pretty scary. But I was so glad we were able to sit there and watch it right in front of the shop, and I hope to watch it at the shop again. Well, no, we'll be at the track. We'll be watching it from Talladega. So hopefully we'll have a lot of people tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you again, Cam.
Yeah, the time difference isn't the best for you guys, but I really appreciate everybody that's getting up and watching. I think my mom was up at like 4 a.m. one night watching.
Oh yeah, we
so,
were texting each other on Facebook. It was pretty wild.
yeah, I really appreciate everybody for that. And yeah, I'm super excited. And like I said, we're bringing home the world championship this year. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'm giving it my all. And yeah, so I really appreciate everybody. I appreciate you having me on today, and hope to see you again with the big old trophy.
Thank you, Camryn. You go get them. We'll look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we're just about done. I do have to thank my sponsor, Mach 5 Fiberglass, and we should have his logo here in just a second. Nope, you don't have it? No. Oh, darn it. I failed. But anyway, Mach 5 fiberglass. Sorry, Marcus. We'll definitely get it up here. Marcus has fiberglass for just about all your karting needs, especially road racing, from laydowns to sprints. Seats are also included. I believe he also gets into floor pans, and I think he's going to get into a little more carbon fiber as well. So if you need anything when it comes to fiberglass, contact Marcus Purdue, and it's Mach5fiberglass.com. Guys, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you tuning in. Please like, follow, share, and comment if you enjoyed this. If you didn't, you contact me personally. We'll talk about it. But anyway, we appreciate your time. We appreciate your effort. And we appreciate you karting. Stay tuned for the next one in 2 weeks. Talk to you then.